Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Okay, Wemby mania continues for us here on GMSA. We're taking a look. This is a live look at Southtown 101 Bar and Grill, where you see that massive Wemby mural. This is at 101 Perida Street. That's between South St. Mary's and South Presa. It's become a hot spot for pictures. I cannot believe they were able to get this mural up so quickly.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. And look at that car too out in front of there.
I know, we just saw someone taking photos from it yesterday. Of course, there was a big celebration yesterday for his arrival.
Wemby mania in full swing here in San Antonio.
I wasn't expecting so much from just my arrival, you know. It was really fun moment, and this is what it's about, you know. This makes me happy.
Of course, yesterday was media day for the newest members of the Spurs. Both guys ended their photo shoot with slam dunks. Remember, it's not just Wemby, it's also City that you can see right there that was doing the photo ops there. Wemby and the Summer League Spurs will soon get together for a training camp. Yesterday, Sarah, Wemby had that big rally at Arneson Theater for that private event where RJ Marquez was, and he was getting interviewed, and he said he had already had breakfast tacos.
Good for him.
And he said he had egg and bacon.
Okay.
And then bean and cheese.
Of course.
And when he said bean and cheese, that got a good applause.
That's how you know
from
he's
the
in
crowd.
San Antonio. Absolutely. I remember before I would go into high school, I'd always have to get my bean and cheese taco.
Me too.
Absolutely. Hey, but it is hot today.
I know.
Oh my gosh, you said you went for a bike ride last night at like 6 p.m.?
Yeah, I definitely regretted it immediately.
Oh, my goodness. Well, outside, Sarah, I'm sorry. It's going to be a pretty similar day to yesterday. It is already 81 degrees out there. It already feels like it's 86. We've got mostly cloudy skies at the moment, but you can see the sun is coming through those clouds, and pretty soon here it's going to be mostly sunny, and we're going to be off to the races with the heat. It's already 83 in Del Rio, 80 in Pleasanton, 78 in Hondo, 82 in Cotulla, 77 in Kerrville, and 80 in New Braunfels. Here's Fido's forecast. Walk the dog now if you can. Take a look at those 3 sweet pups. They're trying to stay cool in the shade. If you're planning on walking the dog today, again, do so right now, because by noon it's already going to be 92, 102 for the high temperature day, heat index of 108. It's only going to get hotter as we head into the week. That heat high is going to settle over, but humidity will come down a little bit. Details coming up in a few minutes. Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. New this morning, a man in his 50s is dead after being hit by a black SUV while crossing the street. So it happened about 1 o'clock in the morning on Southwest Military Drive. The driver pulled over to help the man. He was dead once EMS arrived at the scene. No charges are expected to be filed against the driver. Also overnight, a man in his 20s was hit by a vehicle on San Pedro Avenue at about 3 o'clock this morning. The driver did not stop and render aid. He was transported to University Hospital in critical condition. The vehicle is described as a black Ford sedan. If you have any information about this incident, you are asked to call SAPD. And we have our first look at 46-year-old Melissa Perez shot and killed by SAPD officers on Friday. Alfred Flores has been with the San Antonio Police Department for 14 years. Nathaniel Villalobos has been with them for 2 years, and Elizar Alejandro has been with them for 5 years. We also learned that all 3 of them bonded at a jail yesterday. So let's take a look at what happened, mostly shown through the body cam footage SAPD has already released.
Early Friday morning, San Antonio police were called to the 6200 block of Old Pearsall Road on the southwest side. Police Chief Willie McManus said 46-year-old Melissa Perez was having a mental health crisis, cutting wires through the complex fire alarm system. SAPD released this body camera footage showing one officer approaching Perez in the parking lot while she was out with her dog.
Hey, lady, get over here.
The officer begins running after her, the footage showing him hopping over a railing into Perez's balcony. Then he tears the screen off of the open window. The officer pulls away and raises up his gun.
You're gonna get shot!
McManus said Perez then got a hammer and approached officers. Perez then allegedly swung the hammer toward officers, hitting and breaking the window. Another officer's camera catches shots ringing out. The department said the officer's employment was terminated. In another instance, SAPD said they were suspended without pay. KSAT has reached out for further clarification. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
Well, attorney Dan Packard has released a statement on behalf of Bettis' daughter saying, quote, "We have always been a pro-police family. This breaks my heart. I always trusted the police to protect me, and now I don't know who to trust. We can't express how hurt we are," end quote. Now to Houston, where the fire department there says several people were taken to the hospital after suffering from possible chlorine poisoning. That's according to our sister station at KPRC. It happened yesterday afternoon in a Lazy River area in West Houston. 12 people were sickened. The Houston Fire Department tweeted about the news. Those 12 people, including children, reportedly had a reaction to something in the water. Officials say they may have accidentally ingested chlorine after a spill. The U.S. government is continuing to monitor developments in Russia amidst the turmoil that unfolded yesterday. ABC's Ian Panel has the latest developments now in Ukraine.
This morning, shock and confusion after a rebellion that's brought Putin's grip over Russia to its weakest point in decades. After threatening to march on Moscow with his thousands of loyal fighters and taking control of Russia's southern district military headquarters and key government buildings in the south of the country, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of a group of armed Russian mercenaries called the Wagner Group, announcing abruptly that he'd halt the advance after striking a deal with the Kremlin. The mercenary force, being hugged by residents in the Russian city of Rostov-on-Don, met little resistance when they arrived, and less than a day later were feted like conquering heroes as they left. Historically, Prigozhin has been a long-time Putin ally, taking his armed mercenaries around the globe, fighting and securing business interests for Russia, most recently on the front lines in Ukraine. But Prigozhin's relationship with Russia's senior military leadership deteriorated to the point where he suddenly declared an armed revolt. They were moving to Rostov through the night. Around noon, information on fighting around Voronezh appeared. 8:29 p.m., Prigozhin suddenly announces that he's turning back. Prigozhin has been in a long-running feud with Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu, blaming him for Russia's catastrophic performance in the Ukraine war. The Kremlin apparently forgiving everything that took place in the past 48 hours, saying no one will be prosecuted. But despite the quick reversal, Putin looks weakened and questions about what this means for the war in Ukraine.
And that was ABC's Ian Panel reporting. Authorities in Montana have identified some of the material that leaked when a train derailed in Stillwater County yesterday morning. So the rail link train was on a bridge crossing the Yellowstone River when the bridge collapsed and several tanker cars landed in the river. So the company says those cars contained molten sulfur and asphalt. Montana Rail Link says no one was hurt during this incident. Workers are still assessing the damage and the potential environmental impact the derailment may have caused. An investigation is underway to figure out what happened. It's 8:08 and 80 degrees. Coming up, the summer box office is bringing nostalgia for Hollywood's action stars from the 80s. Next in Hollywood, what critics are saying about the new Indiana Jones movie.
Okay, and for all you folks at home, Sarah Acosta and I, we took some of our break outside. We had to redo our hair completely because it is so humid out there.
I regret it.
You regret it?
I regret it.
Oh, it was a good time, Sarah.
Sure.
Okay, coming up, we're going to talk about how we're going to get even hotter in the week ahead.
Hollywood banking on some familiar faces this summer. ABC's Rena Roy has a look at that.
A final triumph.
This summer, Hollywood going down memory lane and pulling out some of its biggest stars from the 80s for another run at the box office.
Fortune and glory, kid.
Indiana Jones first took over theaters in the summer of 1981, and more than 40 years later,
Dr. Jones.
the Harrison Ford-led franchise is back with its fifth installment, The Dial of Destiny.
I'm retiring.
Tom Cruise set to show off his daring stunts in the 7th Mission Impossible movie. It seems like just yesterday that he starred in 80s classics like Risky Business, The Outsiders, Rain Man, and Top Gun.
The need for speed.
Hollywood banking on fans to flock to the theaters to see these industry titans on the big screen again.
The industry's summer season made $3.4 billion in 2022, which is still lower than the $4 billion they made before COVID, according to ComScore.
Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Sarah,
I'm excited for that.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
For Indiana Jones?
Yes.
I have been re-watching the Indiana Jones movies, all except for Crystal Skull, because let's be honest, Crystal Skull is not that good. But I cannot wait. In fact, my husband and I are going to the movies today.
A good day to stay in the AC this afternoon.
Absolutely, because how does this sound? Heat index of 108.
No thanks.
Okay, we'll go to the movies. you won't have to be dealing with that heat index value. As you take a look at the weather setup, you can see there are some storms across areas nearer to the Great Lakes. That's where we're going to have severe weather today in areas along the Ohio River Valley. But here in San Antonio and across Texas, there's that heat high. It's kind of bullied its way through the weather over the last several days, and it's been off to the west, but in the coming days, it's going to move directly overhead, and that's going to crank up temperatures even more. But there is a bit of a silver lining to that heat high moving ahead. I know, hard to believe, but we'll talk about that in a second. For now, know that much of the state of Texas is either under a heat advisory or an excessive heat warning. So it's not just us in South Central Texas. In fact, take a look at the forecast highs across the state and the heat index values, or what it feels like outside because of the humidity. In Del Rio, it's going to be 108 today with a heat index up to 111. 95 in Corpus Christi, but because it's so humid in Corpus Christi, it'll feel just as hot as Del Rio. In Laredo, 107, feeling like 113. We've got heat advisories for San Antonio, the Hill Country, and points out east, an excessive heat warning south of San Antonio. Excessive heat warning is one step above a heat advisory, as heat index values for areas south of San Antonio are going to be as high as 115. So if you live in Pleasanton, Cotulla, Carrizo Springs, Beeville, these areas are going to be even hotter than San Antonio, which will have a heat index value of about 108 today. 81 outside. That's how we're starting the day. Already starting the day at 81. And as I mentioned before the break, Sarah and I were outside and it was very humid out there. And you can see that we've got a heat index value already of 86. 78 in Helotes, 77 in Rio Medina, and 81 in Castroville. We've got these morning clouds out there right now, and in fact, an isolated shower popped up southwest of Tarpley. It's already about dissipated, but we are not expecting rain today. The biggest issue is going to be that heat, as I mentioned, and these clouds are going to clear quickly. By noon, it'll be mostly sunny and 92, already feeling like 100 because of the high humidity. And then we'll have south wind today at 10 to 15 miles per hour. So a bit of a breeze in the shade if you can find some shade. 102 for the high, feeling like 108. My friends, even by 8 p.m., it's going to be 96 and still feel like 100. Until that sun sets, we're going to have a heat index value that's pretty high. And as I mentioned earlier, that heat high is going to be moving directly overhead in the coming days, right over Texas Tuesday and Wednesday. It isn't until the later part of the week into the weekend and into next week that there are signs that this heat high is going to move off to the east and weaken. That's good news because that means temperatures will come down a little bit, and maybe, just maybe, it opens up the atmosphere for an opportunity for rain. But we're talking late next weekend and into next week. So we have still got 7 to 10 days of very hot temperatures on the horizon. 103 tomorrow, 104 on Tuesday. And then as that heat high moves off to the east, temperatures will come down a little bit, but we're still going to be running some 10 degrees above the average high for the end of June and early July. Looking ahead, again, the only positive thing in this forecast, unless you really love the heat, is that we are going to have less humidity as that heat high moves overhead with temperatures well above 100 degrees. At least you can say it'll be a dry heat. And Sarah, it has been humid, it has been hot, but compared to last year, not as hot. So I'll have details on that coming up in the next half hour of GMSA.
I'm just trying to think we have like 8 more weeks of this, probably Probably more.
It's probably not
like
going to be until late September, October that we have our first cold
16
front
weeks of this.
fall. We can do it. We're used to it.
I know, we're South Texans.
Yes, we are. So we got this.
Okay. Just keep reminding me. 818, 80 degrees. And we're not far from seeing those Christmas in July sales. Oh, Christmas sounds so good right now. Next, what experts are sharing about how you can make the most of your spending. That's for next month. Let's take a look at these lotto numbers. Pick 3, 4, 0, 8, Fireball 4, Daily 4, 9, 1, 3, 1, Fireball 1, Cash 5, 3, 17, 18, 23, 24, Texas Lotto 6, 15, 16, 18, 41, 44, Powerball over 400 million, jackpot 2, 38, 44, 50, 62, Powerball 19, Power Play 3.
And then here, it goes up to 200.
Bracing for a hot summer with high utility bills as costs for water, electricity, and even gas tends to climb as the temperatures rise.
It's going to be a long summer. Now it's a matter of, will I have enough money for rent?
According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, average electricity prices expected to rise about 2% from last year. And while the latest consumer price index showed energy costs decline 3.6% in May, prices are still too high for some Americans.
I think of the people who are going to have to make choices between paying their electricity bill, paying for food, paying for medicine or health care.
Here are 5 tips to keep utility bills down this summer. Number 1, use your dishwasher instead of hand washing. While it does use electricity, it saves energy and water. The U.S. Department of Energy says that could save you thousands of gallons of water each year. Also, air dry the dishes to reduce your dishwasher's energy. Number 2, raise the thermostat and use a fan. Raising the temperature and using a fan can help you use less energy running your air conditioner. Number 3, switch to more efficient bulbs. LED bulbs use at least 75% less energy than incandescent lighting. Number 4, use cold water when you wash laundry. The Department of Energy says 90% of electricity used to wash a load goes towards heating the water. Number 5, check the air ducts. Holes, clogs, and leaks can lower your HVAC's efficiency. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Christmas in July. Oh, wouldn't that be nice right now? Well, you heard that right. Those big sales are coming your way next month. Retailers are gearing up for a summer sale showdown, from electronics to patio furniture, kids' clothing, and makeup. So far, Target, Best Buy, Amazon, and more have already promised a Christmas season savings next month. One consumer analyst says there are ways to make sure you make the most out of what you spend.
So for those households that may be looking to pick up really great deals on necessities, you may see those mixed in with, the good prices on laptops and pieces of furniture.
Experts add July is a great time to snap up on essentials like school supplies. 825 and 81 degrees. Coming up, a new study is showing promising results for a new weight loss pill. Still ahead, what patients saw within the first month of taking the drug and how it compares to those weight loss injections like Ozempic. Wemby mania continues for us on GMSA this morning. We're taking a live look. This is the Southtown 101 Bar and Grill. Here you can see the massive Wemby mural. This is 101 Betty Street. That's between South St. Mary's and South Presa. It has become a hot spot for pictures. This morning, we caught up with a father and son checking out the mural. Take a listen.
It's going to be a good season this year. Just thought I'd get my son to see his future all-star, and that's what we're here for.
I saw him on TV. He got the shot in the hoop on TV.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Just so precious. A new generation of fans, Sarah. I love seeing it. And one of my favorite things to come out of yesterday was Wemby tweeted last night a picture of him with David Robinson, Sean Elliott, Manu, Timmy, and it's like a room full of legends.
Right, and what's crazy is they look like their normal height because they're all so tall.
Put it into perspective, David Robinson, 7'1".
Wemby's taller than David Ross.
And Wemby is 7'5", but I don't know, it's like almost a whole head taller.
Oh my goodness, yes. I love seeing that the fans excited, the little kids excited again. This has really, really revitalized our city and our fan base.
It's a great time to be a Spurs fan. Not a great time to be outdoors.
I feel bad for Wemby coming in right when temperature is hot. And Sarah, I made this forecast just for you because I know you like your iced coffee.
I love my iced coffee in the summer.
Absolutely. Well, you'll need an extra large iced coffee today. 102 for the high. Record heat possible. We're going to be a degree shy of the record. At least that's what the forecast is calling for. Winds from the south at 10 to 15. So find a way to stay cool, maybe by the pool. Today, we'll be looking at sunny skies by noon and 102 for the high. It'll feel like 105 to 110. The UV index is going to be extreme today with sunny skies. Skin damage time within 10 minutes. It's a good idea to wear some sunscreen outside today. But that heat high is going to settle directly over San Antonio in the coming days. Details on how hot we'll get coming up in just a bit.
Sarah, thank you. Bexar County Sheriff's deputies are searching for suspects in connection to a car burglary, and they need your help. So investigators say the two suspects, the driver and passenger in this car that's on your screen right now, broke into another car and stole money from it that was parked on Port Elizabeth by Wagner High School. If you know anything about this incident, you're urged to call the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. That number on your screen right now, 210-335-6000. One family was without a home last night after a house fire yesterday afternoon on the city's east side. Firefighters say the fire started in the attic and believe it was an electrical fire. There were no injuries. The house had minimal damage. Estimates are around $50,000. In a busy week up at the state capitol, and one bill now turned into a law is easing the financial burdens of some family care products. So Governor Greg Abbott signed Senate Bill 379 into law this week. The law removes a sales tax for certain family care items. Products like menstrual pads and tampons are on that list. The Texas Diaper Bank says this is only the start in increasing accessibility to these products across the city, but that's an important step nonetheless.
For many families who do not have the financial or economic means to purchase the necessary amount of diapers, any money that we can put back in their pockets so that they can have more money to purchase more diapers is something that's great.
The law goes into effect September 1st. And in your morning headlines, 2 people are dead after a 14-year-old collapsed and his father was killed in a car crash at Big Bend National Park. That's according to a press release from Big Bend. This happened on Friday. Officials say the dad and his 2 sons were hiking when the teen felt sick. He lost consciousness shortly after. The dad left to go get help. He was later found by a team of park rangers in a crashed car. Park officials said the trail that they were on is rough and within the hottest part of Big Bend National Park. And a 31-year-old woman in Cleveland, Ohio, has been charged with the murder of her 16-month-old daughter after allegedly leaving her home alone for 8 days while she went on vacation. According to arrest records, the woman left to Puerto Rico and Detroit while leaving her daughter in her pack and play. The woman's neighbors told their local news that the baby had been left with them before when the woman would leave. They are struggling to process the child's death. 3M has reached an agreement to settle lawsuits claiming toxic chemicals known as forever chemicals had contaminated water supplies in the U.S. The company, best known for producing Post-it notes, Scotch tape, and N95 masks, among other industrial products, will pay up to $10.3 billion over 13 years to fund public water suppliers in the U.S. that have detected those chemicals in drinking water. The chemicals have been found in hundreds of household items, including makeup, carpet, and are also used to make coatings that repel water, grease, and oil. 3M said last year it would stop producing the chemicals by the end of 2024. And researchers suggest a new experimental weight loss pill could offer results that rival current approved injectable therapies. So that's according to a new study by the New England Journal of Medicine on Eli Lilly's drug. 272 patients with an average starting body weight of about 240 pounds were tested on the medication. Researchers found the pill helped patients on its highest dose lose an average of 15% of their body weight. So after 36 weeks in the mid-stage trial, unlike currently approved medicines for weight loss like Ozempic or Wegovy, this is a daily pill, not a once-weekly injection. All the medications have similar side effects, however, which include nausea, constipation, and vomiting. An advisory committee to the CDC says it's considering simplifying the country's COVID-19 vaccine schedule. On Friday, experts from the CDC told the panel that the majority of children under the age of 12 remain unvaccinated. The committee members described the current pediatric COVID-19 vaccine recommendation as, quote, complex. Among the possible considerations that were discussed included children 2 and older being given a single dose initial vaccination. The panel did not vote on the issue Friday, but they say they will discuss recommendations at upcoming meetings. And big news for those suffering from alopecia. The FDA has approved a new medication to help. Alopecia is a condition where the immune system attacks the body's hair follicles, often causing complete hair loss. Now, this treatment could be a game changer. It's the first and only treatment that includes children as young as 12.
This clinical trial of ritlecitinib for patients 12 years of age and older, over 24 to 48 weeks of treatment, 23 to 40% of patients experienced dramatic scalp hair regrowth and regrowth of eyebrows and eyelashes, when at the start of the trial, most of these patients had absolutely no hair at all.
For those dealing with the condition, it can take a toll on their mental health. That's why doctors are hopeful about the relief of this new medication that it could provide. It's 8:37 and 81 degrees. One Price is Right game show contestant managed to leave not with just a cash prize, but also an injury. What he did to take a trip to the hospital after celebrating a little too hard. Oh boy, 81 degrees at 8:37 this morning. If you need to be out and about, maybe you're going to make a trip to Sunday service or mass. Maybe try to do it before noon today or walk the dogs early on, because Sarah Spivey, she's got another boiling forecast for us.
Good morning. Coming up on This Week, we'll have the very latest on the extraordinary scene playing out in Russia over the weekend. What does it mean for Vladimir Putin, the United States, and the war in Ukraine? I'll talk to Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Plus, on a big week in politics, I'll talk to the 2 Republican presidential candidates who are most aggressively taking on Donald Trump, Chris Christie and former Congressman Will Hurd, the newest candidate in the race. All that, plus the Powerhouse Roundtable, coming up on This Week.
A game show contestant got overexcited and managed to injure himself while celebrating. That might sound embarrassing, but as CNN Janie Mose reports, he's not the first to get it wrong on The Price is Right.
All that wooing, all that arm pumping, a contestant named Henry was a winner at The Price is Right, but little did he know the extra price he'd pay for his enthusiasm. Yes! One of these triumphant arm waves dislocated Henry's shoulder. When it was time to spin the wheel, his wife Alice had to do it for him. As the show posted on Instagram, he won a trip to Hawaii and the ER.
95! Don't hurt yourself.
But other contestants have hurt themselves on The Price is Right. Judy injured her ankle and made a trip to the hospital, but not before finishing the show on crutches. And back when Bob Barker was host, come on down. Scott didn't just come on down, he fell down in pain.
A new station wagon.
Hurt his knee. It was bad enough that it gave out.
Oh, there it goes.
Twice in one episode. On this show,
The new treadmill.
Nobody's safe, definitely not the announcer. And the host, well, Drew Carey is in constant danger of being hugged to death. At least least they didn't lose any light bulbs.
Everybody!
Maybe the show should rethink its prizes.
For a 7-night stay in the hospital.
A new station wagon.
Make that an ambulance.
This riding a lawnmower.
Hey, better than a wheelchair.
But maybe the price is right for game show insurance. Ginny Most, CNN, New York.
The treadmill one gets
goodness.
me. It pains me watching.
Absolutely. Well, because we're treadmill queens.
We are.
Sarah gave me a treadmill, like a walking treadmill.
When I upgraded.
I'll tell you though, you got to pay attention. You can't be just watching TV the whole time, or else who knows what's going to happen.
Yes, and today is definitely a treadmill inside the AC day.
Absolutely, because we're going to get up to 102 today.
Boo.
Yeah, for the second day in a row. Now, when you compare this to last year, though, last year at this time we had 2,100 degree days. This year so far, we've only had 7. Only had 7. Still a lot and still hot outside, of course. But I think it's going to be difficult for us to get to the 58 100 degree days like we had last year. But we'll see what happens. This is going to be the case, though, for us over the next several days. Notice that temperatures are going to be at or near a record. At least that's what we're forecasting. Even today, 102, but the record was 103 set back in 2012. So it is entirely possible that we'll get close to that record like we did yesterday. By Tuesday, we'll be at 104, a degree shy of the record set back in 1980. So get ready for an extended period of hot, all because of this heat high, which is currently a little bit to the west of us over the Big Bend of Texas. But as we look ahead into the forecast, this heat high is going to really just settle over by Tuesday, Wednesday. That's why temperatures are going to crank up in the afternoons, even hotter than what they are at right now. And then there is some hope, though, for a little bit of relief as that heat high is expected to weaken and move off to the east by later this next weekend. But we've still got a long time before even the possibility of cooler temperatures and the small possibility for rain as well. That is at least 7 to 10 days away. We'll keep you posted, of course, with the 4th of July holiday right around the corner. With that heat high settling overhead, yes, it's going to be hot, but the afternoon humidity is going to come down. Dew points in the afternoon should actually be in the 50s. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That is good news because that means that when the hardest part of the day, about 1 to 6 p.m., we're really not going to have much of a heat index value in the afternoon. So that is good news there. It'll be a dry heat. Still hot regardless. As you take a look outside right now, we do have some clouds early this morning. It's 81 degrees. These clouds have been with us in the morning hours for the last several days, and they quickly burn off and it quickly becomes sunny. Here's a look at those clouds and temperatures. You can see out in Del Rio, though, no clouds. It's going to be all about the heat and the sun today. Yesterday, Del Rio set a record of 108 degrees for the day. You can see, though, that there are still some clouds across the hill country. It's 80 in Kerrville. We're starting to see cloudy skies this morning northwest of San Antonio near Helotes, Leon Springs, Bernie, but it's again a humid morning for us, and these clouds are going to go away fairly quickly. By noon, it'll be mostly sunny and 92 degrees with a heat index of 100. By the way, I've got a great explainer of what the heat index actually is on our KSAT's Instagram page. If you want to check that out, we'll be at 102 and the heat index will be 108. It'll feel like 108 because of the high humidity. And then this evening at 8 p.m., we're still going to be at 96 with an index close to 100. Here's a look at heat index values in your neighborhood. Yippee, 108. That's what it's going to feel like in Seguin. 110 in Floresville. It's going to feel like 109 in Divine, 105 in Utopia. It's going to feel like 104 in Kerrville, 105 in Comfort. Anything but comfortable in Comfort this afternoon. And then less humidity on the horizon for us, but it's all about those temperatures getting hotter and hotter. Sarah, you've been walking your dogs either early in the morning or late at night, right?
Yeah, today, because I'm here, I will probably wait until maybe 8:45, 9 o'clock.
It's difficult.
It's also difficult in San Antonio because we have critters that come out at night.
Yeah.
Like I live near a creek. Got to watch out for those skunks.
Yeah.
Don't want to get sprayed.
And snakes too.
And snakes and We see all kinds of things. So stay safe out there.
Absolutely.
It's 8:48 and 81 degrees. Speaking of staying safe, summer is here, obviously, but so is the danger of dehydration. So coming up tomorrow on GMSA, we'll have some fun and simple ways to stay hydrated.
Alrighty, happening today, Patti LaBelle is honoring the late Tina Turner with a performance during the BET's annual awards. The BET Awards will honor several other entertainers, including Busta Rhymes. He is receiving the group's Lifetime Achievement Award, and several singers will perform to honor Rhymes in his career.
Taylor Swift fans are continuing to prove they're the top fan base right now, in my opinion, also the best fan base. This weekend, Taylor Swift performed in Minneapolis, and fans were lining up downtown for more than 14 hours before she took the stage. Some were there just to have the first pick of her exclusive Eras Tour merchandise. Well, July is almost here. As we get ready to start the new month, there are several KSAT community events we want to let you know about. July is Disability Pride Month, a time to celebrate people of all abilities with a wide range of needs. We are teaming up with our KSAT community partners for a phone bank on July 20th. It's all in support of Project Mend, and you can see some information on your screen how Project Mend works to improve quality of life for those living with disabilities and illnesses through refurbishment, reuse, and distribution of medical equipment and other assistive technology.
All right, then on July 22nd, there will be a medical equipment donation drive. On that day, you can bring your gently used medical equipment to the Wonderland of Americas. If you can't make it then, you can drop off your items anytime, Monday and Friday, between 8 and 5 at the Project Mend headquarters. That's 5015 Wurzbach Road. We have a list of the most needed items on our website.
Also in July, Clarity Con, the conference brings together teachers, counselors, nurses, psychologists, and other healthcare professionals. 40 experts will talk about the social and mental well-being of children. Clarity Con will be held on July 20th and 21st. Hey, but we want to take you out back to Southtown 101 Bar and Grill. This is a live shot from KSAT photojournalist Misael. Thank you so much for being out there. And you see that Wemby mural. I saw it earlier. I believe the artist's name is Colton Valentine.
Wow, so cool. I wonder how big his wingspan is. I know there's a fact for that, but I can't.
Well, I know that his wingspan, it's over 8 feet, right?
Oh my gosh.
Can one of our producers
let us
confirm that?
Probably massive.
I mean,
that's like two of us.
He's
Sarah.
7'5".
That's like two of us.
Two of us holding hands. We're Wemby.
Yeah, we're so excited that Wemby's in town, and unfortunately he has to deal with the heat, though. And his wingspan is 8 feet.
Yes, we did.
82 degrees outside. Heat advisory in San Antonio, an excessive heat warning south of San Antonio. Basically, this just means it's going to be hot. You should take care of yourself if you're going to be outside during the peak heat of the day. Temperatures will climb to 92 by noon and 102 for the afternoon high, feeling like 108. Sunny skies this afternoon. And we'll have southeast winds at about 15 miles per hour at times. So a bit of a breeze. Now, less humidity in the coming days as the heat high settles overhead, but that heat high settling overhead means the mercury will rise even more. We're going to be up to 104 on Tuesday. The heat high does start to move a little bit off to the east and out of our area by the weekend, but it's still going to be hot. We're in the thick of summer, and I have yet to get the pollen count in, but as soon as we get the pollen count in, I will have that on KSAT.com.
Okay, Sarah, I just thought, I did the math. I think that this is still less than 8 feet.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
yeah.
I'm only 60 inches, and my wingspan is definitely shorter than that. So.
Welcome, Wemby.
Welcome, Wemby. A Wemby hug to San Antonio. Y'all be safe today. Have a good Sunday.